Start your engine!
Tuning up your work week. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse and brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, for the latest NASCAR news and opinions, and even better hair care tips, here's Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
MRN Motorsports Monday presented by Outback Steakhouse after the weekend that was at Talladega on the Cup side. Race 2 of round 2 of the playoffs for the trucks. It was elimination day, and we've got a lot to discuss on both of those before we head to Kansas Speedway this weekend. Woody Kane alongside Joey Meyer, and for a while, Joey, it seemed like we had gone back to the future in the 90s, the way the racing style turned out to be at Talladega.
It's been a long time since any of us on the roof or in the garage have seen a wood chipping thrashing by one team so dominant, qualifying all 4 teams in the top 4 and then realistically working together and really pogging up that bottom line where nobody could do anything with those guys for the entire afternoon. The only enemy that 2 of the 4 had was too much air in the old fuel tank, and that relegated them to a poor finish. But obviously Aric, Almirola, and Clint Boyer were able to hold tight in their positions with the dominant performance by Stewart-Haas Racing. If I'm the other team, specifically the 4 teams, I'm almost embarrassed because that was such a thrashing of speed and raw power and maneuverability and workmanship with the teams. They really just dominated from start to finish at the end. And again, the only thing it took 2 of the 4 out was a lack of fuel.
Now, we've seen in the past the Toyota teams, specifically the Gibbs teams, try to gang up like that and use it to their advantage, but not as effectively as what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, the Gibbs cars in the past with Martin Truex Jr. adding the 5th car, those guys had worked well together, but they didn't have the raw speed. And that's really what we saw yesterday was the speed that they had on the bottom lane. It didn't matter how much you tried to gang up on the middle and high lanes. You simply couldn't get enough speed to overcome their raw speed by themselves. They were able to pull the pack 4, 5, 6 tenths quicker than when anybody else, namely the 2 car, got out front. We were running in the 90s in a lap time.
Now you're talking time, not
time-wise,
miles an hour.
It's it. And then the other teams, once the Stewart-Haas cars got down, they would pick up 5, 6 tenths of a second. And that's just a dominating performance by those guys. So kudos to them. Really puts the 2 car in a bad position. Little Joey here is pretty upset because Kevin Harvick run out of gas.
I was about to ask you.
He run out of gas. He's very sad. I'm sad. Big Joey, little Joey, very sad. Now the 2 cars in a predicament. We have to go to Kansas, and essentially, excluding any other catastrophic issues by some other teams, we have to win that race, and that's a bad place to be in after a decent season we've had. Our teammate Joey Logano finished in the top 5, so those guys are pretty much moving on. But Ryan Blaney and the 12 car and the 2 car really have to go to Kansas with some high performance. We see ourselves there, and we're just trying to. That's our finishing order right there. And the guys that didn't finish, man, we had no stage points. We had a loose wheel, which we still don't know how that happened because we torqued him right before the race. Kevin Harvick. The only person that's really interesting is Martin Truex Jr. had a bad day mechanically, and he's right there at the cutoff line, right above us in that 7th spot or 8th spot. So Kansas is going to be a tough race for the couple cars to go there and run good. I think Truex has a high probability of running good at that 1.5 miles.
Yeah, they've been very good there.
But realistically, no big one. No big crash there at Talladega, which guys were being careful.
We had some smaller
ones.
Yeah.
That's it. A couple of tire incidences, a couple of spinouts, but no really big wreck. The biggest wreck was coming to the back to the checkered flag. And kudos to NASCAR for not throwing that caution and letting the race play out the way it was going to.
All right, we'll talk a little more about that later and on track. Off track, we'll also hear more from Martin Truex Jr. talking about Kansas. But Aric Almirola goes to victory lane, punches his ticket to round 3. Here's what he had to say afterwards.
But I show up to these tracks anxious but excited and feeling like I've got an opportunity. And, I think when you look at my career, I've won an Xfinity race at Daytona. I've won an Xfinity race here at Talladega. I won my first Cup race at Daytona, and now I've won my second Cup race at Talladega. Now I want to start. I'd like to win at some of these other tracks, so that way people don't just say, "Oh, well, he's just a good restrictor plate racer." But today was sweet to go to victory lane in such a clutch moment in the playoffs, down 10 points coming into this weekend. And knowing that this was an opportunity race for us, winning here today was really special. And like I said, I can count on my hand 5 or 6 races that I feel like we maybe should have won this year, and it didn't work out and didn't happen. And today the good Lord was shining down on us, and we were able to go to victory lane. So this is a special day.
He was kind of due karma-wise, wasn't he? I mean, he'd had, as you mentioned, a couple taken away when it looked like he was going to win, and some cautions and circumstances worked against him just a week ago at Dover, and now he goes to victory lane.
Yeah,
and,
we have to look all the way back to last week to dominating the race, had a clear lead out in front, and his teammate, the 14 car, hits the wall, causes a caution. Couple cars stayed out. They get tires. He wrecks off a 2 on a restart, ruins his day after the race was in his hand. It was there. Mm-hmm. He was going to go to victory lane. Nobody was touching him. Nobody was catching him. All he had to do was get around a couple of corners, and the caution come down in a very untimely manner. The agony of defeat last week, the thrill of victory this week.
Absolutely. And you can pick up Aric Almirola's race-winning diecast, as well as all of those, the race-winning diecast from Talladega, as all the race-winning diecast and others available at planbsales.com. You got to love the fueled by bacon, bacon for life thing on there. Who doesn't like bacon, right?
Who doesn't like bacon?
Absolutely. Bacon makes everything better.
And happy. People like bacon.
All right, a timeout here on Motorsports Monday. On track, off track coming up. We'll hear from Martin Truex Jr. about Kansas, and we'll talk a little truck racing as well.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my feathers like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow, guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
This is the race for the win at Talladega. Kurt Busch out in front, snaking back and forth, trying to break the draft. Almirola behind him, and they're stacked up from fourth on back. Kurt Busch's advantage is only half a car length. Here comes Aric Almirola, mounting a charge around the outside. Kurt Busch doesn't have any help. Aric Almirola will lead the field back to the stripe.
Kurt Busch out of fuel, dropping to the inside of the track. Here's Aric Almirola, who nearly won the Daytona 500, and he will win today at Talladega.
Joe Moore with the call, taking him across the line. And, boy, you know, we talk a lot about saving fuel at a restrictor plate track when you're in line. But when you're the leader, like Kurt Busch, who led so many laps, particularly toward the end there, he's using more fuel than everybody else. He and his teammate, Kevin Harvick, both ran out of gas at the end.
Ran out of gas. How about Aric Almirola's view? You take the white, you're running second to your teammate. You're not thinking about winning that race. I'm sorry. Because you followed your teammate the entire day. You know you're not getting by him. You've essentially said, I'm going to do a good points day. Here I'm going to run second. All of a sudden, your teammate runs out of gas. If we back up all the way to February, Aric Almirola is leading the race down the backstretch, and he gets wrecked coming to the Daytona 500. So, again, just a thrill of victory for those guys, following by the agony of defeat multiple times. We saw 2 incidences earlier in the year when Clip Boyer wrecked while Aric Almirola is leading. He was leading the Daytona 500 on the last lap coming to the checker flag, got wrecked. So they've had a good win coming. Those guys were so strong, and nothing could do. Kurt wasn't happy with the extra lap.
Yeah, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Let's get into that. Let's get into that right now. This is on track, off track, where we talk about things going well in the sport and some things not going quite so well, and that leads right into your next topic. After the race, Kurt got out of the car and said the previous caution went way too long, and then we didn't get the caution flag when there was an incident toward the end, and he felt like both of those things contributed to him not winning that race.
Well, if either one of those things are taken out of the picture, he wins the race. If we go green 1 lap sooner, he has another extra lap. You essentially gain 2 laps of green every 1 lap of caution, right?
Right. You're not using as much fuel.
So
on
if
a
we
caution.
go back to green 1 lap earlier, he has plenty of gas to get back to the checker flag. He's leading the race.
Because it was in turn 4 where he ran out.
Nobody's mounting a charge. Nobody's coming. He's going to win the race. If the caution comes out with the wreck that happens down in turn 1 and 2, Kurt's leading the race down the backstretch. The caution comes out. He's the race winner because the field had already taken the white flag.
And the next flag ends the race.
Kudos to NASCAR. All right.
On both?
On both of them.
Okay.
Because they are cleaning up the track. If they're going to only clean up and use 1 lap, they're not going to throw the red flag to save 1 lap of caution around a 2.8-mile track. They just won't do it. They're doing everything they can do as efficiently as possible. You hear them on the NASCAR radio, get going, get going, get. They're doing everything they can. Cars are circulating the track. We're going to go 1 to go. Okay, hold it. We're going to go 1 to go next time. They're doing everything they can do to get back. They're not going to stop it thinking about, oh, these guys are going to run out of gas. They don't care about the team strategy, nor should they.
No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. Now we take the white flag. The race teams go down in turn 1 and 2. There's a wreck. The last lap of the race, assuming nobody's hurt, nobody hit violently, and they have cars, spotters around the track going, everybody's moving, the cars are moving, nobody's got their window net down. That's a key. The drivers are in a safe position. We have a big enough track. Let the race play out the way it's supposed to. The last lap has to be regulated slightly different because you are coming back to the checkered flag. If that same wreck happens, we saw 1 car spin out, leaving pit road on the skid pad in the middle of the race. That threw a caution. It has to be regulated slightly differently because we're not finishing the race. The race was able to play out the way it was supposed to. Yes, Kurt Busch ran out of gas. Yes, Aric Almirola was able to bring to victory lane. But I compliment NASCAR on seeing the bigger picture of allowing this race to take the white flag. The fans are on their feet. We're going to see a race all the way back to the checkered flag, and that's what we game for. Whether we're running 188 laps, whether we're running 20 laps or 2 laps, you want to see, which we did. We only ran 2 laps at the end of that race for a green-white checker. You want to see the race play out the way it was going to play out.
All right, 2 things to dig a little deeper here. One, Kurt Busch's contention getting out is, well, they threw a caution during the truck race on the last lap when they had an incident. And number 2, if you're going to say we're not going to throw a caution and let the race play out, why then do we throw a caution when a tire got away and was in the edge of the grass?
Okay, good question. The tire is notorious. In fact, I called that the minute it happened. I said, we're getting a caution. Because what happens is what NASCAR is concerned is with that simple tire being in the grass is somebody coming down pit road or getting slidden through the grass, sliding to the slidden.
Slidden. There you go. I like slidden. That's a good one.
So you're slidden through the grass. You hit that tire. It becomes a projectile. I will almost guarantee if we see loose tires come across pit road and get in the grass, the last thing they want to do is see a crew member run across pit road or an official run across. They're very, very consistent about that tire.
God, think back to the old days when guys used to stand on the track and wave
with
the flags.
With a pit sign, stand on pit road. Now, the end of the truck race, as far as the caution being thrown then, their information is different. That's a different kind of race. The trucks aren't moving. The type of hits. There's
the trucks were moving. I'm talking about the incident with Timothy Peters and Noah Gragson.
Coming to the checkered?
That one didn't. I think Kurt's contention is that one produced a caution, but why didn't the Cup race produce a caution when there's a last lap incident?
Well, Timothy Peters ended up winning that race. Noah Gragson, you guys are coming to the checker flag.
Right. Because then you're in the situation as you described earlier.
Yeah.
The next flag ends the race, and that was the situation with the truck side.
Correct. I just simply feel they endangered. Noah Gragson was in the front of the field.
Yep.
Right. So they're starting to get guys behind. And in fact, we had Jennifer Jo Cobb gotten somebody hit her minutes after the race.
I'm not even sure what happened.
Exactly right. So my point is that wreck happened in the front of the field. And I believe if we go down in turn 1 and we see a wreck in the front part of the field, we're going to get a caution because they're trying to get the guys behind to start slowing down because there's too many unknowns. The wreck that happened in turn 1 and 2 for Talladega was more towards the middle and the back of the field, and there wasn't the risk of guys driving through that wreck wide open.
All right.
Different scenarios. Again, they're looking at the bigger picture. They always want to end the race safely, right? That's our primary concern, and then allowing the race to play out. Again, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's going to be different scenarios. Yesterday's scenario hurt Kurt Busch. Saturday scenario helped Timothy Peters. So there's different scenarios. You're going to hurt and help somebody. And again, the consistency is the fact that they're trying to allow the race to play out to the best of their ability.
All right, let's move to off track now, and I think you and I, this doesn't happen all that often, are kind of in agreement on this one.
Man, it was really cool. So a couple weeks ago, we had a really cool throwback weekend at Darlington.
I remember, I was there,
yeah. Paint schemes, and the one thing that Darlington didn't do, Talladega was able to do this weekend. They honored Throwback Weekend to mimic the days we didn't have cell phones.
Oh, my goodness.
There was no cell service at Talladega, no Wi-Fi service, no service. We used cans and strings to communicate all weekend. We had a really long can on the roof and a really long string.
No, you didn't.
Well, we tried.
Okay. That would definitely be a caution.
It was terrible. There was zero cell service. Now, it wasn't a matter of crowds. It wasn't a matter of traffic on Sunday, because Friday afternoon, Saturday all day long, there was zero cell service. We have to provide communication purposes. Even if we talk about safety issues, we're talking about parents being able to get a hold of their kids, trying to find, hey, Mom and Dad, where are you at? Hey, my son's here. Where are they at? Simple communication. I get it's 2018. We don't need to talk on cell phones, but sometimes it's a requirement from a safety standpoint. Now, during the race, if you're trying to promote a race on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or listen to MRN.com, you can't do it.
You're missing out on people who would gladly promote your event.
Yes.
I think one of the things we should point out is they have a big transformation project going on in a few weeks here, or less than a few weeks, a week probably. They're going to start digging the new tunnel that's going to be enhanced there. They got a big infield project going on. Part of that is Wi-Fi throughout the infield area. Let's hope that comes to fruition, because there was just not a good signal there all weekend long.
I love that word, fruition.
Fruition, you like that?
Well, because it looks like fruit.
It's as good as slidden.
Fruition. See, slidden.
All right, that's like fruition. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-through coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is quick, efficient, and personal. Unmatched customer service is the name of the game. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature espresso drinks, classic coffees, custom-flavored infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. With over 25 flavors, there's something for everyone. Visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Open daily 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
Haley to the high line, and he's got drafting help from David Gilliland. Haley halfway there, can't get him cleared. Gilliland tries to go up the middle, there's nothing there. Side by side for the lead, they bounce off each other, and they get away. A great save by Timothy Peters.
Final time off turn number 2. Gregson gets turned. Gregson is in the outside wall. Now they crash and collide. First truck through. Timothy Peters. They're 3 wide behind them as others begin to crash.
Field had taken the white flag, and it looks like your winner will be Timothy Peters.
Timothy Peters goes to victory lane for GMS Racing. And what did you think of that move on the backstretch? Because they were all jumbled together, bouncing off each other, coming back to the checkered flag.
Aggressive driving, man. You're coming back for a win. Nobody's trying to wreck, and that's the thing that we tend to overlook. Nobody wants to wreck, and sometimes trucks occupy the same space at the same time.
And that doesn't work.
Doesn't work. The trucks are already bumping into each other, trying to push and
you can see it right before the spin.
Exactly right. So they're already touching. The first thing that you have to have in order to have 2 trucks wrecking is to touch first, right?
Yep, that makes sense.
And that's normally what we've already taken. Wow, struggling on
you got
that.
a good day going here, don't you?
Exactly.
Happy Monday to you.
Exactly. We've already taken the first step out of the equation. We're touching already.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just a matter of getting one loose or pushing the other one loose. And really, Noah Gragson there were some drivers that said he didn't do anything wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. They understand
He's
that's the
supposed to
effort.
try and keep guys from getting by him.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So that's what we see at Talladega racing. The truck race at Talladega and Daytona, to me, is the epitome of drafting. It's great, great racing. You didn't see what we saw on Sunday with four cars dominating a field. Every truck could pass every other truck. It didn't matter whether it was a lower funded team or a higher funded team.
Given the right circumstances and draft lines and all
everybody
that.
could pass somebody, and that's what was really cool about it. Noah Gragson did what he thought he had to do. Now, one of the things he gets reprimanded for is always pushing the limit.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have to pull the reins on my driver than have to whip him.
Yeah, you can slow him down. It's hard to speed him
exactly
up.
Right.
Yeah.
We can always slow the horse down. We can always pull the bridle a little bit and say whoa down.
But once the horse is at top speed, that's all you got.
If you're trying to whip that horse to go faster, a lot of times now, from a driver's standpoint, we can slow Noah Gragson down. Obviously, he's got a new ride next year with a new crew chief.
Yeah,
right?
we'll see.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Don't get ahead. Hang on.
And so kudos to them guys for trying. Timothy Peters, man, that's his third win at Talladega, filling in, obviously, from a previous time. He didn't have a ride at the beginning of the year. He filled in for Spencer Gallagher a little bit. And then once the driver opened up there,
Dalton Sargent
opened up that 25 truck, they were allowed to put Timothy Peter in, and he brought that team to victory lane for GMS.
All right, and let's hear what Timothy had to say after the race at Talladega.
To not knowing what your plans are after May of 2017, and to get a phone call from Mike and Maury and everybody at GMS Racing to come in to go to Canada and to run the next three, and it's 3 tracks that we've ran well at, and to come to Talladega, and wow, it feels so special. God is good, and He's got a plan, and I'm just glad to be here sitting in front of you guys and talking about my day. Coming off of turn 2, we're going down to the checkered flag and trying to make the best of it. Obviously, Noah's going for it too. Was it a block? At that point it didn't matter. I wasn't going to lift, and I hated that the outcome what it was. But feels good to cross that finish line knowing that we won the race.
So I guess the question comes down to, do you want to be the nice guy who lifts and maybe let somebody run into the back of you, or the guy who's trying to get maybe some more opportunities, who's going to keep the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and drive around and try and get the win?
As a kid, one of the first games that I can remember playing is the game of chicken, right? And
who's going to lift?
Who's going to lift? Who's going to get out of the way if you're coming head on, right? If nobody lifts, there are no winners. Right? But if you push the issue and the guy that rolls out of the way, he lost the game, but did he really lose, right? And that's what these guys are playing on this again. This is a game of chicken. It's a game, and Brad likes to call it a game of chess, but this is a game of chicken where you're trying to get the other guy to make the move that you want him to make, not the move that he wants to make. And we see that throughout the day. And on the last lap coming to the checker, you see a lot of games of chicken.
Absolutely. Let's move to Noah Gragson now, because he's going to move to the Xfinity side next year to go to Junior Motorsports to drive the one car to replace Elliott Sadler, who's stepping down at the end of the season. There's a whole situation there about the crew chief, who it's going to be. Kevin Mindering has worked with Elliott Sadler. Now he's going to move up to the Cup side at Hendrick Motorsports and work with Jimmie Johnson. Here's what Noah had to say.
Don't know who my crew chief's going to be. I was reading on Twitter yesterday, and I'm like, man, Mindering? I think that sounds like the guy who crew chiefs the number 1 car. And I'm like, JRM. I started putting things together. I'm like, I think that's supposed to be my crew chief. Why is he crew chief in Jimmie Johnson next year? Didn't have an opportunity to run full time with Joe Gibbs Racing. That was our number 1 pick, and to stay within that Toyota racing camp. They've been really good to me. Toyota and TRD, they've been a huge part of my career thus far, and so just really want to thank them, but it just wasn't meant to be, so we kind of had to go look for other options, and Junior Motorsports was interested in myself, and both the puzzle piece kind of fit together, and so I'm really excited for the opportunity.
So silly season continues. Noah Gragson moves over to Junior Motorsports. I think that'll be a really good fit, but he doesn't yet know who his crew chief will be.
Right, and the reason Kevin Meandering is going over to crew chief Jimmie Johnson is his longtime 17-year
Seven championships.
I've sat right here and said 8 championships as long as they stay together. That was the key ingredient. I always thought those two. We've seen Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon split, and I believe that was a dynasty that didn't happen. Dale Earnhardt went through a couple of crew chiefs in his 7 championships. He ended up winning another crew championship with Andy Petrie. I don't know if Jimmie Johnson will get back to I think he'll win plenty of more races. But with Kevin meandering, you start rebuilding that relationship. I mean, being honest with ourselves, how many more years does Jimmie Johnson have in driving?
He says he's in at least a handful of more years.
Yeah, I see no more than 5, right? I say that's a good guess if we were talking. But it's a difficult situation. There was obviously something not working. Chad Knaus is still very smart. Jimmie Johnson is still very good.
Hasn't forgotten how to drive.
Exactly right. But something wasn't working, and now is a good time as ever to bring a new crew chief in for Jimmie Johnson and allow Chad Knaus to go over to a younger kid with William Byron and work together and try to build him up. So two opportunities are presenting themselves, and we'll see how it works in 2019.
So as you say, this takes us back to last week when we had a chance to go to Hendrick Motorsports and talk to Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus about the change that the team announced.
The big story, obviously, you guys won't be together after this season, and apparently it's been talked about for a few weeks. But why now? Was there a giant food fight that we don't know about, or was it just simply time?
I think it's much more in the it's simply time category, and it's been longer than a few weeks, honestly. This decision isn't one that was just made on a whim in any short order, and it took a collaboration in a lot of time and effort and discussion between Chad, Rick, and myself, and even out to Jeff Andrews, and other people here within the company. Jeff Gordon's been involved, so we've done a ton together. We've had an amazing run, but it just feels like it's time for us to pursue different opportunities. We're still here for one another to support each other, and still very, very close friends. But it's just kind of time. We're going to go in different directions, and I'm going to be his biggest cheerleader rooting him on, and I know the same for me.
So Jimmie Johnson will work with Kevin Meendering, who had been with Elliott Sadler. When this was announced, Elliott said he gave Kevin Meendering a lot of credit for really revitalizing his career. On the other hand, Chad Knaus, I believe, as you mentioned, can really help a young William Byron reach his potential.
Yeah, whenever you see a young kid come into the sport, sometimes they have a lot of energy, but it needs to be directly in focus.
Yeah.
There's nobody more disciplined on focus than Chad Knaus in that garage right now. So that's a great relationship. The meandering one coming in with Jimmie Johnson, it'll be curious to see the aspect of the veteran 7-time championship, if he's going to be the leader of the team or the crew chief, which should be. And he's done a really good job over at Junior Motorsports. I still believe they're going to do some good things here with
Right, he still may wind up with a championship.
He still has a championship.
In the Xfinity side.
Exactly right. I still believe those guys are. That's still my pick. I've been saying that all year, and I could be wrong. It's a roll of the dice, but I thought the experience and with the relationship between those two and what they've done over at Junior Motorsports in that one car, him going out in his final year, 2018, I still thought big things for them.
All right, we got one more break here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll look ahead at Kansas, specifically with Martin Truex Jr.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow, guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com, key your driver's name in the handy search window, and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
It takes about 5,187 volts to assemble a race car, but only 2 nuts to disassemble the entire sport every Monday. You're watching Motorsports Monday on MRN.com.
MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. No bloomin' onion this week. Kevin Harvick, for once, didn't get a top 10 finish, so you'll have to wait another week to see if he can get you a freebie at Outback Steakhouse. But go by anyway. They got a lot of great specials going on right now. You should check it out. Now, let's shift our attention to Kansas, where we head this week. Both the Cup and Xfinity Series are going to run there. What are the particulars about that track? Because after a long time talking about how that surface wasn't weathering in, it seems to be getting there now.
Yeah, it'll be our cutoff. It's a cutoff race. Very, very
for the Cup side.
Very, very important for 2 of the teams that we're associated with, the 12 and the 2.
Mm-hmm.
We saw poor performances, poor results after Talladega put those 2 in a hole. You've got Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson behind them as we're all wrapping up the 11th and 12th spot.
They're really in must-win territory. Absolutely.
We need something to happen, or we need to win on the 2-car. Martin Truex Jr. goes there right there at the cutoff line, but that's going to be a really good track for him. That track is starting to widen out. Kyle Larson should be widening out. We see him right on the cutoff point. Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney still potentially in on points, as is Larson. It'll be a good track for him. Alex Bowman is a must-win situation. Obviously, Aric, Almirola, Chase Elliott lead the top 2 with those wins. But really the surprise here, and which is one of the things I called the big 3, he runs the risk of not making it to the 3rd round.
And he's using some playoff points now to stay where he is. If he didn't have those, he would be in worse shape than he is.
Yep.
So Martin Truex Jr. was asked about racing at Kansas, where he's got a pretty good record.
I'm not sure about why it's played a big part. I mean, like I said earlier, every single track we go to has potential to shake things up, has potential for big things to happen. You look at restarts today and how crazy they are, and how everybody, just tries to get every single thing they can get on restarts. That's really, I think, what's changed the game in the last, 8 or 10 years or whatever, since we've been doing double file restarts. And Kansas is just a fast track with a lot of options groove-wise, and we can, spread out and run all over, and that has potential to cause problems.
I remember when Kansas was only a 1-groove track after the repave, and I remember a day when Kyle Busch couldn't seem to get out of his own way at Kansas, and now he seems to have figured it out.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had a struggle there. Clint Boyer, that's his home tracks there. I think that might be Martin Truex's junior home track.
I think they're all his home track. but he gives you an idea there about how Kansas has changed over the last several years.
You talk about restarts, man. We're going to be hectic there with a cutoff race and a lot of guys having to win to get in.
It's going to be interesting as well for the Xfinity Series as they head to that track. You can catch it all right here on the Motor Racing Network on Friday. We've got qualifying for the Cup Series. That comes your way 7 o'clock Eastern Time. On Saturday, the Xfinity Series Kansas Lottery 300 comes your way at 2:30 Eastern Time. Sunday, the big event, the Monster Energy Cup Series Hollywood Casino 400. That's 1:30 Eastern Time on Sunday. Also, don't forget NASCAR Live Tuesday night at 7 o'clock with Mike Bagley. All the time at MRN.com. Find out what's going on there. I'm Woody. He's Joey. We'll see you right back here next week.